I didn't always have the Hollywood smile.
Okay.
I was the ugly duckling. I lost 70 pounds. I found myself through my divorce. Like there's a lot that it took to get me to this point.
Yeah.
And it truly was allowing myself to put myself out there when I was my heaviest, when I was depressed, when I was completely feeling helpless and frozen in my relationship and my life. I still pushed through and I put myself out there and I started doing Facebook Lives and I started just talking to people, and over time created a community of people who then last Thursday showed up and to celebrate me and this book that I created through social media and in-person interactions and my photography clients and people who've read the book or worked with me one-on-one. But it was mostly just by me putting myself out there, even when, years ago.
Same business, different day.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. I am your host, Zeke Corley. Now we're winding down season 3 and we're winding it down with a bang, not a dud. We're so happy to have all of you listening and appreciate your support. So many good things are happening and I can't wait to share them with you all. On our show, we get to talk directly to you entrepreneurs and business owners, just like our special guest today who started her first business at age 11. We'll talk about that and so much more in today's episode. Visiting us from Washington via Zoom, welcome the contagious Kelsey Kurtis.
Oh, hey. Hey. We ready to party. I'm so excited. I get to wind down season 3. What a welcome. No pressure. No pressure. Don't mess this up, Kels. Don't mess this up.
This is the big dismount.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yes.
So don't mess it up.
100%. We're going to get you a 10. The judge is going to give you a 10 by the end of this. I already know it. So we're going to get to know you. We're going to get to know about your early experiences that molded you into how you became the business person that you are today. So give us a little background. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up between Mammoth Lakes, California, and the Sierra Nevadas. And then we migrated up to a place called Bellingham, Washington. So from the Sierra Nevada mountains to the Cascade Mountains. And I basically have been bebopping around the Seattle area ever since then, basically.
So a lot of outdoors experience. I imagine, right?
Yes. Yeah. I grew up skiing. I do not ski now because that is absolutely terrifying to me, but I grew up skiing, hiking, paddleboarding, all of that. But, I'm also a very large fan of sitting on the couch and eating popcorn and watching a good movie. So like the extreme Pacific Northwest people, I am not one of them. I appreciate in little appetizer portions.
I hear you. So now you grew up skiing, but tell us more about your early years, your childhood. What kind of child were you?
I was a very energetic child.
No.
So, it's so funny you say that because I recently, one of my team members who's a videographer, she was like, "Hey, Kelsey, we would love to get some of your old home movies and get them transferred to MP3 so we could do some video stuff on background of you because your past is, it really forms your future of what you're doing now."
Sure.
And there was this one video of me. I was probably 6 or 7, and I was wearing a striped Minnie Mouse shirt with polka dot a skirt and then tap shoes that I wore to school. And it was a video of me like tap dancing on the way to school. And my mom is just like, yes, she's a wild dancer and we just choose our battles. So I feel like that encompasses who I was as a child. I
That's
was
great.
anything but the status quo. We did not have a lot of money at all. So I grew up going to thrift stores. I grew up just making do with what we had. And both my parents worked and were extremely hard workers and provided for my sister and I. But I always loved to be that creative kid and look at things differently. And I was bullied for it 100%.
Oh, really?
I did not have friends until I was probably mid 20s
Wow.
because I always challenged the status quo. I always was like, thinking about imaginative things or dressing up and let's take photos and do our hair crazy or our makeup crazy. And like all these little things that I did as a kid, I now have like turned into my career.
Wow. Yeah.
because I just never said, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't be like that. Everyone calls me weird. Oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. I was like, no, that's me. How could I be someone else?
That's right.
So that was me in a nutshell of very creative, loud, boisterous. I got sent to the principal's office many times for singing in class.
It's worse things you could be doing.
I mean,
I guess it depends on what song you're singing.
Well, yeah, right. But like I'm an okay singer, but I was disrupting the class because I was getting in my own little world of healthy ideas and things. So, but yeah. Wearing tap shoes to school basically wraps up Kelsey as a kid.
I like it. And the stripes and polka dots, that's not a bad combination. You could do that now.
I mean, it's totally cool now. I was ahead of my time. Okay.
That's right. There's no doubt about that. I mean, and that's, you were an individual. You were unique. And it sounds like your parents, allowed you the freedom for that.
Yeah. And that was one of the things, I shared some of these videos, these snippets on my Instagram stories, and I took a screenshot of me wearing that outfit. And I wrote a note to parents who have unique, creative, wild children and said, like, keep pushing them to be themselves. Don't dim their light because they are going to be the movers and shakers of our future.
That's right.
So
now you also had
something that was really amazing.
Early influences though too, right? I mean, I actually read about your grandfather helping you start that first business. Is that right?
Yes. So my grandpa Paul, which I consider him to be a master entrepreneur. And he also, I think, was really beyond his time with how he built his business. He first had a florist business in downtown LA, like in the glory days of Hollywood.
Oh.
And then him and his brothers started a sailboat yacht brokerage that is still alive today in Newport Beach, California.
Wow.
And they started these businesses. And my grandpa's claim to fame was, I can know exactly how to become someone's friend from a handshake. And then secondly, how to sell them a sailboat. Like it was all about building relationships with him.
That's
it was all about, let's go play a game of golf. Let's go out for a drink. Do you want to come home for dinner? Great. New friend.
That's right.
And so when he saw me at, 10, 11 years old, every single day was a new business. I have pictures of me like managing a McDonald's or a toy store or a video rental store or a produce counter. Like every day was a new business. He saw that I had that entrepreneurial spirit. And so at 11, he was like, hey, Kels, let's actually do this. Let's play this out. And so we bypassed the lemonade stand and we started Kelsey's Jewelry, where we imported silver jewelry from Mexico.
Wow.
And we went door to door and wholesaled it to boutiques in town. And that's where I learned how to do relationship businesses or building a relationship business.
Yeah.
The thing I talk about and share this story that was truly the turning point of me learning how to build a relationship business was our first day getting our jewelry. We had it on those like black velvet flats.
Right, sure.
And we drove downtown and we went to our first boutique and he said, okay, Kelsey, we are going to leave the jewelry in the car. And I was like, we're supposed to sell this. Like that didn't make sense. But I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm just a kid. Right. And so we go in and I watch him and he introduces himself. He introduces me. We shoot the shit basically with
Yes.
them and tell stories. And then we left with no mention of the jewelry. And we repeated that process store after store, week after week.
Wow.
And then by the fourth time we would go into a store, we would then bring our jewelry in, and every single flat was sold out because we led with the relationship and not the sale, not the here's what I'm selling, buy it, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And so that's what was ingrained in me. Like that was what business was to me, and taught to me at a young age. And then as I grew up and went through school and started other businesses and eventually what I do now, it truly formed the foundation for every single thing I do on a daily basis and everything I teach others to do as well. So my grandma was a badass.
That's right. You clearly were, and so was Grandpapa. We got to shout him out, right?
Shout out to Grandpa Paul. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Yes.
I do seminars sometimes on networking, right, with the Chamber of Commerce. And when we talk about it, that first contact, you're not going to get a check at first contact. It's just not something that you should be expecting. You need to build that relationship. And so I really like what he taught you. And he taught you that at a young age. You don't cash out first time around, and you shouldn't even be expecting to, because, who knows what that's based on or if that business will ever come back to you.
Exactly. And here's the thing too, is like, you can't look at everyone as a dollar sign.
Right.
I look at everyone as a relationship and as a pathway to support them, a pathway to support me, a pathway to get to someone that they know that I could support.
That's right.
It's not just an easy black and white one-way street. It's like, it's a pathway to relationships, and you don't know where those relationships are going to go. So if you're just leading with the sale, you're missing out on so many opportunities and connections.
That's right.
You don't even know you're missing out on because 100%. You're just leading with the sale. And 100%. It's not a good look. It's really not a good look.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I tell people. Like, if you're here, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying this is the guy that I did business with once, and then never talked to him again. That's not the kind of business that you want to be doing.
No. And what I tell people is, like, if you want to build something like that, if you want to build just like hide behind your business, you don't want to have a personal impact in it. If it's just about the numbers, if it's just the transactions, like, get to step in. You are not a part of my crew. I don't want you here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So was going into business for yourself, was that always the plan? Did you have early jobs? Are there other careers or things that you...
I did. I got a degree in communications, and my goal was to be the next Oprah Winfrey. Like, I wanted to work in television. That was the goal. And so then I did work in television, and I realized really, really quick that was actually not the dream I wanted. Because the talk shows that I did work on for audience coordinating or producing, it was too superficial. Like, the topics and getting stressed out over really unimportant things.
Oh, okay.
It just didn't connect with me. I remember we had a show about dog costumes for Halloween, and I couldn't find one of the dogs, and I was running around like a crazy person, sweating and almost to tears because I couldn't find one of the dogs. And I had this moment of like, Kelsey, you're stressing out over a dog right now. A dog fashion show. Is this what you want your life to be? And it was that moment I was like, I know, and I've known from a very early age, I was destined to have impact in this world and to have a large voice. Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be in syndicated television. And so I left that position and just like wandered and did everything from like mortgage to veterinary clinic to hotels to everything. And then a personal assistant. And then, the things that I do now kind of fell into my lap, and my head, my heart, and my intuition were just like, yeah, you're supposed to do this, even though you don't know what you're doing. You're supposed to do it. So I did it.
Yeah. And you took the time to find it, right? You didn't, didn't start off as a child with this whole plan written up. You didn't go to school and say, this is what the future is going to look like, and let's map it all out now. you kind of roamed around and figured out what fit for you. And you probably got some experience though in those corporate type jobs, right? Where you could actually have your own.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's so interesting is all of these jobs that I have had before have now been these little connection pieces
Sure.
that I can use to build relationships with the most unique people.
Yeah.
Like I just said that I worked at a veterinary clinic, and one of my clients, one of my amazing clients who I've actually been on her podcast and have been supporting her business, she does veterinary inventory. She's built a massive business teaching others about veterinary inventory. I didn't even know it was a thing. But when I mentioned, oh yeah, I did work in a veterinary clinic, it was an instant connection piece for us because I had some empathy and I knew what it was about. And so, paying your dues, getting your feet wet and all sorts of different things is only going to improve you as an entrepreneur.
I love it.
It's not a shameful thing to have a job or to supplement your business with a job. It's just going to strengthen you and create even more connection pieces and a stronger foundation for who you are and the impact you can create.
I love it. That's awesome advice. I love it. I think it's time to get into the reveal because I see you holding your tongue over here trying to
I'm trying
not
to
to
hold my tongue.
And I want to give you enough time to talk about what it is that you do now. So, Kelsey Kurtis, now she's a professional photographer and in my opinion, a social media influencer. Today, we're happy to be here with the author of the new book, The Connection Method. Kelsey is a leader in connection-based branding, not to mention a self-proclaimed expert at thrift shopping.
This is true.
Thanks for being here with us today, Kelsey. Tell us more. Tell me why it's true. Wait a minute. Are you really an expert at thrift shopping?
So you want to know, it is actually very true. So when my mother was pregnant, she worked at the thrift store. And then a few years ago, I owned an online women's boutique clothing store where I would go to Goodwill and buy all the amazing deals and then resell them online before Poshmark or anything. Like it was on eBay before any of these apps were out. Like it was many, many years ago.
Okay.
So I can literally walk into a thrift store or consignment store and look at just a pattern or a material and know what is designer and quality and find deals.
I love it.
I'm very proud of that.
I'm going to send my daughter to come hang out with you. That's what she lives in, the thrift store. I'm going to send her up there. She's 16 and she just loves going thrift shopping.
My best friend already. Like it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
The Film Hub is the future of co-working right in downtown Vista. Get energized to go to a safe work environment that is clean and sanitized. Create video content, live stream events, and all of your marketing material in our audio and video facility. Come and visit us at thefilmhubinc.com.
Thank you for tuning in to the Same Business Different Day podcast. If you like the way that our show sounds and looks and are interested in doing a podcast of your own, send us an email. Yes, we've gotten into the podcast game, producing podcasts for individuals and businesses just like you. Contact us at adifferentdayradio@gmail.com or on IG at adifferentdayradio.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fox, founder of Star Fox Media. We're a digital marketing and video production company that focuses on serving small businesses here in Vista, California. We have the team and all of the equipment necessary to produce, film, edit, and distribute your podcast to as many people as possible. For more information, you can reach out to us via email at info@starfox.media or give us a call at 760-385-3117. Let Star Fox Media help you tell your brand story today.
Okay, so let's get serious. Congratulations.
All right,
Serious. Be serious,
yes.
Kelsey. I mean,
very serious now. No fun. No nothing is allowed.
No more dancing.
No more dancing.
And I'm going to send you to the principal's office for
serious.
singing too. So don't get in trouble. Really, congratulations on the release of your book, The Connection Method. That is major.
Yes.
And I know you guys just had the book release party. I saw that on Instagram.
Gosh, yes.
It was just amazing. It was really beautiful. The whole scene. It was awesome. So congratulations on that. Tell us about what went into the book and everything, and what that whole process was like. 3 years writing it, right?
Yes, 3 years writing it. And I'm going to tell you, it was, I say this in the book, like I never intended to write a book. Like it was never the plan. Like I wish to write a book one day,
that's
a
right.
page full of my verse. Like that was not the plan at all.
Mhm.
It truly was universal. Like this has to happen.
Right.
And so, like I mentioned before, my grandfather taught me this like relationship based, mindset and process about business. And so that's how I've always done jobs and presenting myself and my career and building my business. And so one day I was asked to speak at this women's networking event about the way I put myself out there as a lifestyle branding photographer, how I've built my business as a photographer. And it's obviously it's a little bit different than most, just because it's very connection based.
Sure.
And there was a woman who came up to me afterwards and saying, "Hey, I've built so many businesses and I'm starting a new one and I want to do it right from the get-go. And everything you were talking about is what I want to do. So could you help me build this brand thing that you're talking about?" And I'm like, sure. I mean, like, I've never really put a name to it. I'm like, I've never really thought about it, but sure. Like I'll write up like a 10-page workbook and we'll go through it and that'll be that. So I sit down at my computer to write this 10-page workbook. 2 weeks later, I had 200 pages down and the first draft of the connection method was written, because it truly is the truth when you say, write what you know. Like that, like it was all in me. It just needed that spark to come out. And so I worked with this woman through this. And the best part about my relationship with this woman is that her business was being an author coach and helping authors finish a book.
Oh.
And so the connection method was just meant to be like something to help my photography clients find their brand, but she saw something bigger that I presented to her. And so I not only helped her build her business and her connection-based brand, but then she helped me actually write the book and publish it and get it out there and do the process and help me through the tears of like, I'm worthless. And like, who am I to write this? And like, there's so many things on branding and marketing. Who needs something else? Right. And so it was such a serendipitous coagulation of all the things. And then, it was, the connection method was released officially back in May. And then we were able to finally safely have our party.
That's and it's time to celebrate. That's huge.
Yeah. It took 3 years and a divorce was in there and a lot of pain, strife, and a lot of truth. There's no BS in it. It is all truly from my heart. And the best part is that it's an actual system that people can define their own connection-based brand, whether they're an entrepreneur or an employee or have a career, or they just want to refigure out who they are, especially with the pandemic and COVID. People are all going like, who am I? What am I doing? What's going on? And so the connection method gives you an actual process to ask yourself the questions and leave with a connection-based brand that you can slap out in the world and go, hey, this is me, take it or leave it. And it'll help give you confidence and clarity of who you are, what you value, and what people can expect from you. And so it's a love letter to my crew and everyone who's like looking to build relationships in their business and career. So
that's great. We got to get a copy of that. So tell me this, let's be clear that this can be translated for all businesses, right? This isn't just a book that someone should read if they're into photography, or a book that they should read just because they're branding person. No. This is across the board. Connection-based business branding is a real thing.
Yes,
everywhere.
Exactly. So here's the deal is, yes, my career has been as a photographer, but as I've worked with hundreds of people, I realized that humans, and I'm not talking entrepreneurs, CEOs, or the person who took your order at McDonald's. I'm talking humans.
Yes.
We are searching for connection, and that has to start with ourselves.
Okay.
And in order to build something, whether that's a career, business, or what have you, you have to know who you are. Otherwise, you're just going to be piggybacking onto someone else or trying to fit into someone else's box or expectation of who you are. And so that's what the connection method does, is that it helps you connect with yourself so that you can connect with others and know the message to put out there to build your business, and give you the consistency and clarity and confidence you need to put yourself out there to build your business. I always say that the truest form of connection comes from when others can see themselves in you.
Love it.
But if you don't know who you are, honey, it's going to be really hard for people to get past that, surface level of connection. And people aren't connecting with logos. Like, people just think branding is like a logo or your font, but branding is really like who you are. And with connection-based branding, I've taken traditional branding and flipped it upside down and really brought the heart back to business and brought humanity back to business, because that's what people care about now. Yes. People want to know about the values behind the people behind their business and their products. People want to know who these people are that they're giving money to.
That's right.
They don't want to just look at a logo and be like, oh, everything is perfect. Business is perfect.
Yes.
You cannot connect with perfect. You have to connect with different.
Yes.
And that's what the connection method helps you do, is find what makes you different and own it and be confident in it and be validated in who you are. So if you are a kid who wears stripes and polka dots and tap shoes to school, this book would help you be validated in who you are and help you put the verbiage out and define who you are to communicate it so you can really maximize that connection.
I love it. Look, I love it. You don't connect with perfect. You just don't connect with perfect. Okay, so you connect with different. That's what it was, right? You don't connect with perfect. You connect with different. And I saw that actually on I think it was your Instagram or something, where you had crossed off the calendar where it said like strive to be better, and then you cross it off and wrote different instead of better.
Yeah. Like, that's it. I always tell people, like, being the best is an imaginary concept. One person's best is another person's worst.
Sure.
So you can't define your success or who you are on being the best.
That's right.
You have to define how you're different, because how you're different is something tangible, something that people can grab a hold of. And when people can grab a hold of something that they see themselves in you, that's when impact can happen, because that's when they start feeling seen, they start feeling heard, and they start feeling like they matter in this world, and then they're not alone. Yeah. And so own what makes you different, base your brand on what makes you different, and be unapologetic for it. Because there's going to be some people who don't like you're different, but there's going to be the people who really need to see what makes you different.
I love it.
And that's where the impact is going to come from.
Yeah. If everybody in the room is wearing stripes and polka dots, you should change clothes.
Exactly. Cheetah is coming.
So take me back a little bit to photography. Tell me about the photography business, how you got into that, and then how all of that moved into, lifestyle branding and all of that. Like, what was that process?
Yeah. So I had mentioned earlier, I had a whole bunch of jobs. I was kind of just like, okay, I guess TV is not my thing. And I was just kind of floating around. I was a personal assistant. And then truly, like, I've always loved photography. Okay. I'm not a traditional artist at all. Like, I can't paint. I can't draw. Okay. Like, stick figures are concerning, the ones that I draw.
Okay.
So, but I've always had a very imaginative mind, and like, creativity flows through me, and I'm like, how can I express this? And so photography had always been something I enjoyed, but I really didn't know how to do it or anything like that. And then one day I had this thought, like, my head, my heart, and my intuition, like, all just had a board meeting. They were like, yep, we are in agreement finally on one thing. And Kelsey, you need to become a professional photographer.
Okay.
And I was like, say what? I've never owned a creative business. I don't know what to do with this camera once I get it, but okay. Sure. So the next day, sure enough, I went and bought a camera and just started taking photographs and photography nonstop. And that was 11 years ago. Wow. And it truly has been so life-giving to my soul because of all the people that I've been able to meet. And in 2016, 17, I was shooting weddings because that's what everybody tells you to do as a photographer. The only way to make money in photography is shooting families and weddings. That's all you do. So I followed that advice, but I was hating it.
Okay.
I loved my couples, but it was just like every wedding's the same. My summers are gone. And here in Seattle, like, we have 2 days of summer.
Yeah. Few and far between.
And so I was like, I actually don't love this. I love photography, but I don't love this. I love working with entrepreneurs. I especially love working with female entrepreneurs. I love making females and women feel beautiful when they always tell me like, I take horrible photos. I'm so unphotogenic. And I'm like, oh,
Self-conscious,
girl, get
yes.
in front of my camera. Let me show you something different.
Right.
And so I took the leap, and I was like, I'm going to start this new genre called lifestyle branding. Nobody was doing it.
Okay.
Like branding photography was not a thing.
Mhm.
And so I left all of my income from weddings and decided to take this leap into a brand new genre that nobody knew about or knew the ROI or how it would impact or anything like that.
Yes.
And I just took on a few guinea pig clients, and it instantly changed their business
Mhm.
to show up as themselves versus stock imagery or just the same old Canva
Poses
quote or
and-
what
yeah,
have
yeah,
you.
uh-huh.
And it instantly changed their business. And I really saw potential. And so, but one of the things that was really difficult for me was at the beginning of our photography relationship, I asked them, okay, tell me about your brand. Who are you? Who do you want to reach? What story do you want to tell? What are your branding words? I've always operated my own business on branding words, which are 3 to 5 words or phrases that define who you are, what you value, and most importantly, what people can expect from you.
Okay.
And everyone would look at me with deer in the headlights. They're like,
Mhm.
my brand?
Yeah.
Oh, like social media? Oh, my brand? Like my logo? And I'm like,
right.
no. Like, who are you?
Mhm.
Like, what story are we going to tell? And no one could answer that. And so that got me thinking about, okay, we need to bring some education into this photography experience because I can't do an intentional photo shoot and do the best job for you if I don't know why we're doing
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. You want a
Or
story to tell.
or who we're trying to reach,
Mhm.
or like what wardrobe should we put you in? What location makes sense for you? Like all of these questions were swirling and we didn't have answers.
Uh-huh.
And so I just started off by putting just, 5 or 10 questions. I would send them off a few questions and that would give me a little bit more idea. And then the questions started getting bigger. And then I would start, talking to more people about branding and things like that. And then I realized that I had my own way of teaching this, and then enter in Jocelyn Lindsay, my book coach, who asked me to help her brand her business and started the whole connection method process. And so basically when I work with clients for photo shoots now is we go through a whole branding audit. We basically go through the connection method and I help them define their brand, their branding words, their ideal community, not just your ideal client. There's so much more to it. So your ideal community,
Mhm.
their branding colors, what colors are going to represent them, because colors mean something.
Right.
And so that always is a fun one. So that's kind of how everything, led to this point. And photography was that gateway
I
for
love
me
it.
to realize there was a huge missing piece in
Yeah.
our society and misunderstanding about branding and the power it can have. And what's so incredibly exciting is that the confidence that my clients step out with
Uh-huh.
after going through the connection method or having a photo shoot is so inspiring, because they go out and be like, huh, okay, this is me. All right, let's do this. Like they are ready to step into the ring and knock it out.
Yes.
Because they're not questioning themselves or letting the brain tornado of self-doubt or comparison monster delay their growth.
Yeah.
They know who they are and they put themselves out there, and it's amazing to see what happens.
That's great. And it all starts with hiring the right person. Obviously, you're the right person
Oh,
to
yeah.
bring in and be behind the camera, right? Because you're coming in there as more like an advisor. You're not just someone clicking a button. You know what I mean? No, you're coming in. Yeah, you've actually are giving them a blueprint. And so I love this, man. I mean, lifestyle branding. I hadn't heard of it before either until I was reading about you. And I think it's great. And I think you read on my notes too, because confidence, when you mentioned confidence just now, that was one of my notes, just saying that confidence, you write that a lot on your website
Yes.
and all about it being a big factor in branding.
Yeah. I always tell people, I'm like, what you need to figure out is what you actually sell. Like if you're a realtor, like you don't sell homes, you sell the dream or the relationship, right? You have to figure out what you actually sell. And I sell confidence.
Yes.
I sell confidence. That's what I do. I help people find their confidence by defining their connection-based brand. I help people have confidence during a photo shoot and then seeing these beautiful images of themselves that they've never been photographed properly before. And then giving them the tools to step out confidently and say, this is who I am. This is my brand. This is my business. I'm ready to go. So yeah, confidence is the biggest thing. And one thing I always tell people is that consistency breeds confidence.
Love it.
You can't have confidence unless you have a consistency built into place. And that's where connection-based branding really comes into play, because it really gives you exactly what you said, a blueprint of who you are, of this filter of, okay, I have a decision to make. Let me run it through my brand. That creates that consistency, which then makes you feel more confident and validated in your decision.
You know, what's great about you too is that you lead by example. If anybody's confident, you got to check Kelsey out on IG. Kelsey M. Kurtis, at Kelsey M. Kurtis.
That's right.
You
Kurtis
have
with a K.
With a K.
With a K.
Yes, Kelsey.
And then Kurtis with a K. Yeah.
And Kurtis with the
Everyone
K.
puts the C.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to check her out on Instagram. You're talking about confidence. You're talking about somebody who will just get up on the camera and dance. I absolutely love it. And I think, you know, like I said, I think that your clientele is picking up on that, you know, because of that example that you come in there with, and your willingness to wear the different colors and all of the things that you're asking them to do. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It'd be different if you're in there, you know, all timid and then saying, but I want you to dance for my camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's great the way you approach it.
I don't think the word Kelsey, Kurtis, and timid have ever been in the same sentence before. So that's the first. No, absolutely. Like, you know, it's so, Zeke, it's so funny you say that, because I recently went up to a mountain up here in Washington to do a photo shoot, and it's in the middle of nowhere. So I'm literally, I was going to wear a beautiful dress on top of a mountain. And so I was putting my Spanx on in the front seat of my car to get this like tiny little dress on. And I did this video, this IG video, after I put it on, and I might have like twisted like 10 different muscles because it was quite a project. But I told my community, I was like, guys, I just changed in the car and put Spanx on in the front seat. I asked some of my clients to change in the car too. So if I'm not willing to do this, then I wouldn't ask you to do it, but I just did. So we're all in this together. So I will definitely lead by example, even if it means slapping some Spanx on in the front seat
twisting some
car.
muscles. I got a question. Go ahead.
Yes. No, go for it.
I was thinking about the lifestyle branding, right? Let's say you're successful with that. Let's say you're successful with helping a business brand themselves. And now this business also has employees, right? So now how does this business owner now go back and translate, hey, everybody, you know, if we approach things this way, you guys come along with me, we're going to be more successful. How do they turn around and translate, or do they have to bring you in to talk to the whole company?
Well, it's ideal for me to come in, because if we can just have one conversation versus 100 million conversations that get lost in translation.
Sure.
I do work with teams.
Okay.
And one of the things that I do, the process that I do is, I send this branding audit questionnaire out, which is basically the connection method questions. And then it's like one-on-one connection method process. I send out my branding audit questionnaire to the people who have, you know, who are in charge, basically, who are the lifeblood behind this business, the leaders, the ones who are the movers and shakers. And so I send that branding audit out, and I see, and then I put together kind of a Venn diagram of everything that each individual person brings, as well as the things that they're all working towards, like the values they all work towards together. I also send out to the employees, 5 or 6 just basic questions about who they are, their values, what they respect, what they don't respect, just generically. And I call it like just branding wizardry. I just can see it.
That's right.
And I put it together in this very palatable, easy to understand way of this connection-based brand that is founded on, yes, the founders, but also the employee culture and the employee expectations too. And it's a really good checkpoint for you to know, hey, are your current employees on the same page with you and your culture and where you're going and the values you have, or not? It's a really good checkpoint for that. as well as moving forward when you are hiring someone new, you know exactly what to look for. You can literally slide this branding breakdown that we talk about in front of a new hire and be like, hey, do you identify with these values?
Yes.
Like, this is what we're about.
Yes.
This is what we stand for, versus, like some high in the sky, airy fairy mission statement that like no one really ever talks about or what have you. Like, I have my branding words printed up and framed that I see every single day.
I love it.
I digress, but yes, getting your brand locked down as a company is super, super important, as well as asking your employees to add to that, to make sure that they have buy-in and you strengthen that corporate culture.
I love it.
I talk about the evolution of your connection-based brand. I don't care if you're Walt Disney or Susie down the street selling candles. Everything starts with a personal brand. It starts with a dream. It starts with an idea from someone or a team's brain that then evolves to a business brand where people are like, oh, so they're doing something. They're really building something. Okay, I can see it. And then as that grows, it grows into a brand culture that people outside of the circle are seeing and that they want to buy into because they identify with those same values as well. And then as that takes hold and grows, it then grows into that brand legacy that you can have. Now, keep in mind, legacy doesn't mean that everybody has to have a Walt Disney sized company.
Yeah.
Legacy can be an interpersonal legacy between one or two people in a small business, or it can be a global brand. But that's the progression of how branding and connection-based branding grows. It all starts with defining the personal values of the people behind the brand, and then it grows from there. But you always want to have your employees buy into your values, because if they don't, it's going to be an uphill battle. And it's like, why are you even here? Like, we're not going to be able to serve you at all.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's one of the things for my team when I'm hiring. I'm like, I literally slide it. I'm like, here are my branding words. Mm-hmm. This is the vision. You're not being hired on as an employee. You're being hired on as someone who is going to advance this brand, this message.
Yes.
Like, we're in this together.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And that's really, the basis of connection-based branding, is just like connecting with a bigger mission, partnering together and going.
Ignoring squills and warning lights on your car is not a good way to lower the cost of owning it. And going without essential business insurance is not a good way to save money in your business. What we know for sure is doing either will cost you more than you will save in the short and the long run. With YourInsurancePlace.com, you can trust a specialist to help maintain your cars and avoid major expenses. Business owners should look to business insurance specialists when it comes to finding competitively priced quality insurance coverage for their businesses. At YourInsurancePlace.com, we specialize in workers' compensation, general and professional liability, employment practices and cyber liability, property owner policies, and bonds for most types of businesses. YourInsurancePlace.com knows that we can help. If you're uncovered, need to lower the cost of your current insurance, or need better coverage, we can help. YourInsurancePlace.com has been helping businesses for close to 40 years. If you need a quote on your insurance, call us now at 858-569-8100 or find us at YourInsurancePlace.com. We are business insurance specialists ready to help. What's up, San Diego? 2021 has been a year of getting back to work, back to school, back to life. In juggling everything else, you may have found yourself in a cycle of unhealthy habits. And if so, now's the time to break free from that rut. My friends Adam and Kristen at Crossroads Juice are here to help you live a healthier lifestyle. A local company with one thing in mind: bring organic nutrition to all. They deliver 100% raw, cold-pressed organic juice and other goodies to your San Diego doorstep. While using local produce sourced from organic farmers in Southern California, Crossroads creates powerful and delicious nutrition. You'll feel energized, clear-minded, and lighter on your feet, in my case, my bike. It's the perfect boost to get me through my day and help me recover from my rides. Not only that, it tastes amazing. And they deliver. I'm currently hooked on the juice called Hotel Del, which has fresh white peaches, lemon, ginger, and mint. If you are ready for a change and want to kickstart a healthier lifestyle or maintain what you've already started in a convenient way, try Crossroads Juice. You can find them online at www.crossroadsjuice.com. CROSSROOTS juice.com. They're hooking you, our listeners, up with a unique promo code, BUSINESS. That's right. This will get you 20% off your first order. Always free delivery in San Diego with orders over $40. So now's the time to get your health back on track with this masterpiece of nature. Crossroadsjuice.com. Use promo code BUSINESS. Crossroads Juice. Do what matters. Be well, my friends. Yeah, and I like that you said you do it during the interview process. Get it done there. You don't want to come in and find out later that person can't keep up with what the brand is. You want to find out ahead of time. Let's talk about what it is, what the expectations are, and then let me know if you identify with these same values. So I think that's great. You guys got to check out the Connection Method book. You can find it on Amazon. Now, tell me, give me examples. You mentioned Disney. Give me examples of businesses out there who are doing it right. The connection-based method, or that are doing it right.
Oh, the person who I love giving this example is Sarah Blakely with Spanx, and I didn't mean to just do a whole Spanx
Hey guys, we got to get them as a sponsor, okay?
I know.
Let's note that. Write that down.
That was totally coincidental. But Sarah Blakely with Spanx, she is brilliant at connection-based branding.
Okay.
She has her own personal Instagram where we get to see the inside of who she is as a CEO, as a leader, as a mom, as a real person. And so she provides all these connection pieces of the person in charge of the, contour shapers that we buy. And so when we go into a store and I go, okay, I need to buy some Spanx or some body shapers. If you have brand A or Spanx, I'm going to remember back to the Instagram story that Sarah Blakely just posted about going on an overnight camping trip with her family, and they were sleeping on Roots, and it was a hot mess express. And I'm like, been there, done that.
Sure.
I can identify, I connect with you, grabbing the Spanx, leaving the store. And paying for them. Let's not shoplift people. But so Sarah Blakely does a great job. Also, Kristen Bell is a phenomenal example of connection-based branding. Just the way she and her husband, Dax Shepard, with the Armchair Expert podcast and their work together and their businesses, they put themselves out there as humans, as flawed humans. And so we want to buy into their businesses because they put themselves out there. Even Taylor Swift, she does a great job of putting herself out there and really connecting and appreciating her community that she's put out there and protecting them too. So those are just a few individuals that just come to mind.
Love it.
For sure. But honestly, anybody out there who takes the leap and puts themselves out there, whether they have 5 followers or 5 million followers, or, have a teeny tiny little business or a giant business, the minute you take the leap to put yourself out there, you're saying, I'm ready to connect. I'm ready to, allow you to feel seen in my story. Yeah. You're just a vessel of connection.
And this is the world for it nowadays, right? When you got the social media all over the world. I mean, it's so much easier to put yourself out there. I spend more time doing it in person, but either way, I guess it could still be effective, right?
Well, I always say, I'm not the social media expert. I am definitely the branding expert, but I always say that Instagram is your digital business card. When people ask for my business card, I have them follow me on Instagram because I'm out there putting myself out there and building relationships with people, like true, genuine ones. So it's, social media is a blessing and a curse, and you have to watch out. But the relationships I've been able to create, sustain, the impact I've been able to make worldwide is not something that I could do just in my little corner of Washington.
I love it.
So,
I was just thinking about, go ahead.
I was going to say too, I wanted to give a male example of connection-based branding. Will Smith is a phenomenal example of a connection-based branding guy who is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Just putting himself out there and being real with people. speaking truth,
Mhm.
his YouTube channel, all of that. Like he's done a phenomenal job of branding himself in this new era of Will Smith.
I love it. I love it.
Mhm.
And you mentioned being in that little corner in Washington, you know, with all that, you know, I mean, you got obviously the big Hollywood smile and personality and all of that, but you're not in Hollywood. So, you know, how does someone who's listening, you know, get to be successful in their own little corner of the world?
Well, honestly, it's getting over yourself
Mhm.
and thinking that everyone is going to be picking you apart by putting yourself out there
Mhm.
because you okay. I didn't always have the Hollywood smile.
Okay.
I was the ugly duckling.
Uh-huh.
I lost 70 pounds. I found myself through my divorce. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot that it took to get me to this point.
Yes.
And it truly was allowing myself to put myself out there when I was my heaviest, when I was depressed, when I was completely feeling helpless and frozen in my relationship and my life.
Mhm.
I still pushed through and I put myself out there and I started doing Facebook Lives and I started just talking to people and over time created a community of people who then last Thursday showed up and to celebrate me and
Right.
this book that I created
Yes.
through social media and in-person interactions and my photography clients and people who've read the book or worked with me one-on-one. But it was mostly just by me putting myself out there,
Yes.
even when, I mean, years ago. So it's getting over yourself and not thinking that putting yourself out there is a narcissistic act. It's not. By holding yourself back, it is actually the most selfish thing that you can do.
Sure.
Because when you hold yourself back, you're telling the people who need to hear your story, I don't care about you.
Mhm.
My self-loathing and self-insecurity is worth more to me than me sharing my story with you and impacting you and creating something where you feel seen and heard and feel like you matter. And so putting yourself out there is a selfless act.
Love it.
And all you are a vessel of connection. We're all just looking around. Who looks like me? Who sounds like me? Who shares the same story as me?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Holding on to it,
Right.
fine into it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to tell people is you are not narcissistic putting yourself out there. It is not selfish to put a picture of yourself and share some of your story. It is a selfless act and you are just there to share your story and connect. And when you connect, that's when impact can happen. And that's when we can bring that humanity back to business and that true connection.
Bringing humanity to business. I love it. I love it. Informational and inspirational. I love
Boom.
it. Thanks so much.
Inspiration and education are two of my branding words. So boom, who's on brand today?
I told you we're on the same page today. Look, so now as an artist, you guys get burned out sometimes. I mean, how do you stay, you know, motivated and energetic, you know, in your field?
So that is very true. And I definitely feel that often. I do quarterly planning. So my business mentor, Heather Simpson, with an amazing organization called She Leads Me, she taught me all about quarterly planning and holistic business planning. And so a few months before the next quarter starts, I take out my giant like desk size paper Office Depot calendar with all these different color Post-its. And I look at my next 3 months. And the first thing I do is I put time for trips. I put down
Okay.
time for rest.
Okay.
That's the first thing I put on my calendar
Wow.
are trips and rest.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I do is then block off times for my photo shoots, block off times for speaking, block off times for, my admin days, because we have so much little things that we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do is I make sure that, my admin days for business are equally as important as my rest days.
Love it. I love it. But and I imagine too that you've probably got to do some outsourcing too. You can't do it all. It's not all on your shoulders. You've got a whole team and you've got other people to help.
I just work 700 hours a week, of course.
Just
honestly, okay, Zeke, truly the best advice I have ever been given in my entire life is ask for and receive help.
That's right.
Is not only ask for it, but then when someone does offer it, receive it. Because sometimes we go, oh, no, I got it.
Yeah, I got this.
But actually receive it.
Yes.
So I have an amazing team of people who help me, from my assistant, videographer. We have, graphic design, business planning. That has been a game changer. And I'm going to tell you, it was terrifying hiring all these people, especially like an assistant. Like, oh my gosh, I need to take care of her now. Like, I'm in a whole new echelon of leadership. How can I show up? But I planned it out. I made sure that I was covered strategically, and my business has grown because I partner with the right people. So it's terrifying, but making those investments in your business will also help you invest in your personal life, because business and personal are all intertwined. There's no such thing as it's just business, or, it's not personal, it's just business. They are all intertwined.
That's part of our branding. So I appreciate that. Same business, different day. We talk about it all the time. There's the balance of the business and personal. So I'm wondering about your clients. Like, I know clearly referrals got to keep coming, right? It's a referral based business for you. And I imagine everybody who's leaving more also confident and happy are referring you. But I'm wondering, like, who a dream client is for you, and how do you reach those clients?
So yes, I am very based on referrals, and the best part is that my clients, a lot of them do quarterly or biannual photo shoots, because we do a summer, spring, and we do a fall, winter.
Okay.
And then referrals with branding and things like that. So my dream client would be Kelly Clarkson, because I think that she is phenomenal, and one of the things I'm really, really good at is posing women of all shapes, sizes, vibes, and making them look amazing on camera. And I loathe the hand on the hip pose. And she does it all the time. And I want to show her a new way of posing to make her look even more glamorous and fabulous than she is. So Kelly Clarkson is definitely one of my dream clients. But honestly, I hate to sound cliche. Like, every client that I work with is a dream client, because they are ones who are willing to do the work. Like, when I have my consults with people, I tell people, like, I only work with people who will respect my time and your own time, and who are willing to do the work, and that have really good energy. Like, that's the stipulation I lay out on my first call with anybody, and you either jive with it or you don't.
Right.
And so I really have incredible clients who send me amazing people, and we get to do the best shoots. Yesterday, I had a photo shoot up at the mountain at a brand new cabin with all these models of different sizes, colors, shapes, loves. We had all the representation. So I have the best time.
That's great.
We have the best time.
You're amazing. I'm glad we have the opportunity to sit down with you, Kelsey.
I so appreciate it.
This is very, very cool. And even before we got started, we were having a great conversation. So I'm glad to just to get to finally meet you. And I'm so happy for you. Congratulations again on the book. The book is The Connection Method. You guys can find that on Amazon. Somebody reach out to Kelly Clarkson and let her know Kelsey's waiting for her call.
Yeah, let's do it.
You can find her on her website, KelseyKurtis.com. That's KelseyKurtis.com, and at Kelsey M, as in Mary, Kurtis, on IG and Twitter. Okay, that's KelseyM Kurtis on IG and Twitter. You guys pick up the book, please. The Connection Method on Amazon. And thanks again so much, Kelsey. You just lit us all up. You lit up the room and you lit up this show. So thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Same business, different day. Thank you for listening to Same Business, Different Day. We truly appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and leave a nice comment on all platforms. It really helps our show. The Same Business, Different Day podcast is produced by A Different Day Radio, Star Fox Media and James Russell.
This was a production of A Different Day Radio.